Hello, everyone. This is Stefan Schreibeis, the Superintendent, Glendive Public Schools. I have joining with me Jeff Veley. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And just want to give a public service announcement here. This is our first Facebook Live, and so we're hoping that we don't have a whole lot of technical issues. I know Jeff's probably done this way more than me, but since I'm the one at the controls, I just want to ask for everyone's forgiveness first. Hopefully I don't mess this thing up, but I'm excited to come to you tonight to bring Jeff Veley and his message about resilience to our community and our parents. We've had a couple nights that Jeff has come to our town and done a couple parent nights. But with this time we thought, the last time he was here, we were actually going to do another parent night, and actually we were going to do a Facebook Live, and unfortunately I got busy and didn't get it advertised very well. And so we decided that we would do a trade-off, and we came up with this date so we could advertise it a little bit. And so I'm assuming Jeff is in Texas right now. Is that right, Jeff?
Yeah, home in Dallas, Texas right now.
Yeah, and I'll let Jeff kind of introduce himself a little bit with what he does, but just a kind of quick intro. We've been having Jeff come to our schools the last couple years to talk to our students and our staff about resilience and his peace sign approach to dealing with conflict and issues like bullying and so forth. And it really is a good method to train everyone. And so we thought it'd be really good to have him speak to you guys as parents. And like he said, if you saw his video that he sent out for us to kind of promote this, he talked about coming into your home where you can be in your PJs and so forth. So, so we hope this is valuable. And one thing about Facebook Live is this video will hang out on our Facebook page, and we're going to try to get it up on our website as well, so that people can go back and look at it. And it looks like we have about 5 people watching live right now, but I just want to kind of make a statement right away that if there's any comments or anything like that, questions, we're going to get to that at the very end. And so and then we'll have some time for questions and answers, but for right now I'm going to turn it over to Jeff, and he's going to kind of start talking to you about some of the things that he has going on. So
Awesome. Well, thanks again for joining us tonight, and I'm really pumped to share some practical strategies of how you can empower your kids, because that's what it's all about. And that's why I love coming to Glendive and working with the staff, parents, and students. It's fun. Each trip we get to work a little bit more and make a little bit more progress together to empower kids. And so if you're at all concerned about just your kids dealing with adversity, man, welcome to the club. I feel like every parent I talk to is like, our kids are facing so much more growing up today with technology and everything else that we didn't really have to worry about so much. The world is kind of a different place. It's ever changing. And so it can be sort of scary as a parent to send your little one, or even your growing one, if you've got a teenager, off to school, because you're trying to figure out, what is it going to look like, or even sending them out in the world. I kept coming across videos of human trafficking today, of kids being kidnapped. There was a little girl here in Texas, 8 years old. The cops had to kick in the door of a hotel room, and it actually took them 2 different raids to find her. She was buried in a clothes basket. And so we see these things on the news, and it's so easy to become afraid. And one of the questions I hear from parents is like, how do I protect my kid in this world? And so I want to give you some practical strategies of how to do that tonight. How do we protect our kids from aggression? How do we help our students solve conflicts? And you say, Jeff, why are you passionate about this? Well, I was a kid that was picked on at school, and everybody knew that. I had the red hair. I had the nerdy glasses. I was always kind of a big kid. Addiction and tacos still is there. But it seemed like kids picked on me for all the wrong reasons. I had learning disabilities. I just stood out. Stood out like a sore thumb. And if your kid has been that kid that's targeted, man, I feel you. And I remember going home, and my parents didn't really know what to say. My grandma really tried to help encourage me. Everybody knew Jeff was getting picked on at school, but what no one really knew at school, and even a number of members of my family, is that I was going through some abuse at home. My mom and I just did not get along at all, and growing up was pretty rough. I felt like no matter where I went, I couldn't escape it. And I was searching for answers of how do you get people to stop being mean. Tonight I want to share with you the secret. I wound up working in the mental health field. I ran residential treatment programs, after-school programs. I was kind of known as the mental health professional that was insanely entertaining. I had an entertainment background. So my goal was to go in and, I'm working with traumatized kids, and my goal is to make learning fun. Like, hey, you got to be here. You're not living at home. You're stuck in this place living with me. It's not like it's Disney World, but we can make the best of this opportunity. And when I sat knees to knees with these kids going through therapy, kids in rough circumstances, I sat knees to knees with several hundred kids that would come through our program. And I would say, hey, what's the number one thing that's driving you crazy? What's the number one thing you want to get over? What's the number one thing we can help you move past? To be quite honest, I thought they were going to say, well, I was abused as a kid, or my parents neglected me, or I was abandoned. But they didn't. They would say, Jeff, why did the kids at my school hate me? Why do I feel like my teacher doesn't like me? Why do I feel like my parents don't accept me? And that was the question that I tried to answer. And I found more and more kids that were in our programs that were on suicide watch. When I asked them, hey, why do you want to give up? They pointed to this issue called bullying. And of course, for me, as someone who dealt with that as a kid, I said, I got to figure out how to solve this. And I got to try to go into the schools and teach this to kids before they're in crisis, before they're living in a residential treatment program, and I meet them that way. Like, that's terrible. Like, what if I could reach them further upstream? And I'll tell you, I figured out a solution. I learned one, nothing I discovered, everything you find tonight that you might have heard it before, but I package it in a unique way that kids can remember. And that's why it's been successful. It's nothing revolutionary I'm going to teach you. It's pretty old. It's stuff I learned from my grandma and everywhere else. But the way I package it is in 2 simple steps that you can easily teach it to your kid, no matter what age they are as a parent. And in these 2 simple steps, 90% of students that use these 2 simple steps for 1 week report that bullying completely stops or dramatically decreases. It's incredibly effective. So, hey, I don't want to just talk at you. I want y'all to participate tonight. So if you're watching, I'm going to put some little slides up on the screen here. We're going to do a little pop quiz. The training, the name of the training tonight is called Raise Them Strong, Building Resilient Kids. And that's what I want to do. I want to help you build resilient kids. Stefan, can everybody at home there see my screen okay?
It looks like it.
Awesome, cool. I'm going to go through these slides, and as we go through this together, what I want you to do is just think of your child. If you got more than one, maybe pick one. Pick one that is maybe struggling socially or emotionally. And we're going to do a little quiz. And I want you to think through how you want your child to be. And the answers are going to be A and B, right? It's multiple choice. End of a long work day trying to make it easy on you. So here we go. Question number 1. Do we want our kids to A, get easily upset by words or insults, or B, be unfazed by words or insults? Now, Stefan, you're a dad. What would you say, A or B?
I didn't know this was going to be a quiz for me, Jeff. Come on.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot.
I have to read it now. I was trying to look at Facebook. This Facebook Live thing is complex, man.
There you go.
We definitely want it to be B.
B. All right. Do we want
as
our
a
kids
parent,
to
yes.
be, of course, unfazed by words or insults? Next, do we want our kids to A, expect others to solve their problems for them, or B, learn to solve their social problems on their own? What would you say for your kiddos, Stefan?
Definitely B.
B. Parents, if you're following along, you can go ahead and comment on Facebook. We'll find your B's later here, too, so far. I feel a little unity in the community. This is going well. All right, next. Do we want our kids to A, demand that no one makes fun of their flaws, or B, understand they're not perfect, learn how to take and make a joke about their flaws? I know for me, I've kind of adopted a kiddo. I would say B. Next, do we want our kids to A, demand that everyone likes them and includes them in every social gathering, or B, be content with a few friends that accept them and not seek the approval of everyone? I'm going to just stop the quiz for a second. I don't know about you. I said this at the top. I have learning disabilities. I'm a little bit of a slow learner, so if it's been a long day, let me help you out. All the answers are B. The guy creating the slides was trying to help you out, so it's B. They're all B.
And they're getting it right on Facebook too, so they're doing well.
That's good. Do we want our kids to? I should pull it up here on my phone. I can see your responses as we're going through here. That's fun. Do we want our kids to A, explode in anger if they experience a push or shove that does not, let me emphasize that, does not cause pain, or B, ignore a push or shove that does not cause pain? What do we say? I see some B's popping up here in our live.
Definitely a B.
Awesome. Very good. B, if it doesn't cause pain, someone's just trying to provoke them to a fight, we don't want them to fight. We want them to move on. And last question, how is resilience developed? By being protected from adversity, or B, by going through adversity? Of course, again, the answer is B. This is a little bit of a trick question. I'll tell you that. Physical resilience can only be developed by going through adversity. If you want to be able to, lift some heavy weights, you're going to experience some tears, some micro tears in your muscle. Your muscle will have to repair itself. It'll have to adapt to the weight so it grows stronger than the weight you're lifting. And if you're doing it right and not, hurting yourself, you'll be able to add more weight as time goes on, and you'll be able to still lift that. But it's still going to be painful. It's going to be a painful process. But if you keep lifting, you're going to find out that first weight you were lifting, you can lift that like a piece of cake. Guitar players. My dad was a professional guitar player. I remember as a kid holding his hand crossing the street. And I said, Dad, are your hands made of plastic? He laughed. He said, no. I said, why are they so hard? He said, well, Jeff, I have calluses. I said, what's that? He said, in order to play the guitar, he said, it's first very painful. He said, your skin has to get used to, it has to adapt to pushing down on the strings. And he said, at first it's kind of painful to learn how to play guitar. He said, but over time, he said, now I can play a full concert. It doesn't hurt because my skin is what? Resilient. Now, for emotional resilience, I'll give you this. There's a little shortcut. Your kid does not have to go through pain. I meet so many students, they go through pain because they don't know, or the adults in their life don't know that there's a shortcut. See, education is the shortcut to emotional resilience. Teaching our kids another way to handle a situation. They say, oh my word, I never would have thought of that, Mom. Or, oh, Dad, I've never tried that. Let me give it a shot. And they find there's a different way to solve something that they never thought of. There's a 7th grade boy. I don't know if I told you this story, Seth. This is great. A while back, a 7th grade boy comes up to me after an assembly. He said, hey, Mr. Jeff, thanks for speaking at my school. I said, you're welcome. He said, man, that really helped me. I said, what was most helpful? He said, the part of the show where you told me I didn't have to get upset. He's like, that was really helpful. He goes, next time my brother's mean to me, he goes, I'm going to try it. I'm not going to get upset. And he goes, I bet you he won't have very much fun being mean to me. I said, I bet you're right. And I fist bumped him, and as I walked away, I hear him say this. I'm walking out of the auditorium, I hear him say, man, I hope he's mean to me. I said, what did you say? He said, I hope he's mean to me. This kid is dead serious. I go, why in the world would you hope that your brother's mean to you? He goes, because I want to practice my skills. Now, I started cracking up, but this kid was serious. He said, I hope my brother's mean to me because I need to practice this. And I said, why? And his answer blew me away. He said, Mr. Jeff, if I try this stuff that you taught me, these skills at home, and it works with my brother who's like a punk sometimes, if it works with him, I know it'll work with the kid at school that I'm actually afraid of. So, man, I realized I need to practice. And I remember, you could hear a pin drop because I'm sitting there with him. I thought, what a neat kid. Let me remix what he said to me. What he really said to me is, hey, Mr. Jeff, I'm willing to go through adversity so I can practice solving my own problem. Why? Because I know it's going to make me stronger. I'm okay experiencing some mean behavior from my brother at home in a safe environment because I know it'll help me flex my muscle and grow stronger so when I get in front of the kid at school, I can deal with him no problem. And I said, bro, you are really smart, dude. I said, you are really smart. We need to have more of that mindset in life. Hey, I'm willing to go through something difficult if it'll help me grow stronger. So here's what I want to encourage you to do, Mom and Dad. When your kid is experiencing conflict, when socially things are not going well with their friends or their enemies or their frenemies, when there's a kid not playing fair in the neighborhood, I want to challenge you to view conflict as an opportunity to build resilience in your child. Now you might say, Jeff, dude, this is not a fun opportunity. I agree. I'm trying to sell this to you like it's cake, okay? But I am trying to help you see the glass half full. What if we viewed conflict as an opportunity to grow our resilience? Think about this. Next time someone cuts you off in traffic, you say, what a great way to increase my frustration tolerance. I'm not going to honk the horn. I'm not going to get angry back. I'm not going to flip them the bird, do something crazy, lose my temper, and look foolish in front of my kids. Instead, I'm going to maintain my composure. I'm going to show my kids, I'm going to demonstrate and model for them that even if someone is a jerk, you don't have to let them ruin your day. All of these things are great examples of how we can model for our kids and teach them, hey, just because someone else is mean to you, you don't have to let it bring you down. If we can model that, if we can teach that, if we can help our kids develop these skills, we can help them rise above the adversity in their life and be really successful. You say, Jeff, how do you do that? Well, I want to share that with you tonight. I'm going to teach you 2 points. I call it the peace sign approach. 2 simple steps you can use for a kid of any age to teach him how to stop mean behavior in 1 week. You might say, well, Jeff, that's what I want to learn. How do I stop bullying? How do I get people to stop being mean? Well, I'm going to tell you tonight, I'm going to show you in the next few minutes here, stopping bullying behaviors is as easy as 1, 2, 3. If you're going to take notes, if you're going to screenshot this Facebook Live, here's the moment you want to, take that screenshot here because this is what's really going to help you. Here's the 3 steps. Number 1, you got to understand that bullying is a game. It's a what? It's a game. It's a game that kids get caught playing again and again and again. Why? Because the kids that know how to win the game, they're real good at it. They're real good at making you feel like a loser. And if you're losing the game, if your kid is losing the game, they have no clue how to win. Every time they try, it gets worse. Every time the kid gets in trouble, they hate their guts more. Every time they tell, they feel like they always need somebody else's help to step in. So number 1, you got to understand bullying is a game. Okay, well, how do you win the game? Number 1, understand this. Don't get upset. Why? Don't give in or they win. Their goal is to have power over you. You get upset, you lose, they win. Automatic. So number 1, don't get upset. Don't fall for the trap. Don't drink the haterade. No. Instead, stay calm. Bullying is a game. How do you win? Don't get upset. And treat them like a friend. Now some of you really think I'm off my rocker, right? Don't get upset and treat the enemy, like the jerk, the punk, like a friend. Why? Because he or she's expecting you to treat them like an enemy. When you treat them like a friend, it's going to totally throw them off. I'll show you how, why it works, and we'll give you an example of a kid doing this. You'll see how they diffuse a situation in a matter of seconds. I'll show you that here in a little bit, a video clip from me doing this live with a student on stage. Bullying is a game. How do you win? Don't get upset. Treat them like a friend. If you can do that, you can help any kid find peace. All right, so let's get into, first of all, what in the world is bullying? Well, I've traveled all over the country. I've traveled for the last 9 years. I've spoken to over 1 million students, and I still have a hard time defining this word. Why? Not because I haven't done my homework. Here's why. In the United States today, there's over 5 working definitions for the word bullying that are accepted nationwide. Some of those definitions actually contradict each other. The other thing is that every state recognizes bullying as being bad, as bullying as being illegal, but they define it differently. So I'm from Michigan. The definition of bullying there is different than where I live now in Texas, which is different from what it is there in Montana. Now, I will say a lot of states are modeling it after some new laws and some new things that have came out of Texas, and New Jersey is super strict, Louisiana, all of that. But here's the thing. If your family, if you're watching CNN and there's this story on the news about this big bullying incident, and you're like, oh my gosh, that happened here. That's illegal. I need to, call the principal or whatever. Well, if it happened in another state, it actually may not be considered bullying where you live. It's super confusing. Super confusing. If you want to know what bullying is, let me give you the original definition from 1970, and then we'll move on. This is boring. It's not going to help you that much, I'll be honest. The academic definition of bullying is says there's three parts. First of all, there's got to be an imbalance of power. Someone having power over another. There's someone who feels weaker, and there's someone who feels stronger. Now, this kid doesn't have to be bigger. I've seen little cheerleaders, tiny, itty-bitty girls drive the big old muscly captain of the football team crazy with a little rumor. So size has nothing to do about it. If you got a toddler, you know that when they're pushing spaghetti off the tray on pasta night, they're trying to have one up on mom and dad and say, I'm in control. I'll shove it over if I want to. I'm not taking another bite. Size has nothing to do with it. So number one, there's got to be an imbalance of power. There's got to be an intention to cause harm. They want to hurt you. They want to ruin your day. They want to bother you. You're the butt of their joke. And number three, it has to be repeated over time. Now, let me tell you this. I get phone calls, I get emails all the time from parents, from students, that say, I'm being bullied. And I ask a question. I say, okay, what happened? How are you feeling? And how long has this been going on? And they say, well, if it just happened today, I have to say, well, has it ever happened before? A lot of times people will say, no, but I'm really concerned. I say, well, technically, by definition, it's not bullying. Oh, and sometimes I hear parents, it kind of like, I'll get it like a mama or a papa bear at that point, and they get upset and they say, are you saying my kid isn't being bullied? I say, okay, well, listen, I'm not saying your kid wasn't, targeted. Hear me out. But what I'm saying is by the legal definition or by the psychological definition, it only happened once. So this is considered an isolated incident of aggression. They say, well, why is that important? I just want help for my kid. I say, because until it's a repeated pattern of behavior, the school district is told, don't follow your anti-bullying protocol. Treat it as like a fight or an isolated incident of aggression or rude behavior or mean behavior. It's not considered bullying. And so a lot of times I talk to a lot of parents, they're frustrated because they're saying the school isn't doing their job. And in some cases it's true, the school isn't doing their job, and I have to deal with that. But in a lot of cases what's happened is it's not been a repeated behavior or a repeated pattern of behavior. And so the school is instructed by the state, do not follow the anti-bullying protocol. And a lot of times you feel like they're not handling it, the right way. But they're really just doing what they're supposed to do. So it causes a lot of friction. When I started this work, like 9 years ago, I was traveling and speaking. I thought bullying was a war between students. I was like, okay, I'm going to go in these schools, I'm going to teach students how to get along, how to resolve conflicts, how to de-escalate things. And if I can teach students how to get along, we can solve it. I've learned that's not what the issue is. See, bullying is completely illegal now. It's a legal word. So if you say my kid is being bullied, if you say that to a principal, a school counselor, superintendent, teacher, they have to launch an investigation. And they have to either substantiate that bullying happened, follow the anti-bullying protocol and all of that from the state, or they have to say, no, this was not bullying, or this was an isolated incident, and then they deal with it a completely different way. And I'm telling you, man, if there's an investigation, it usually gets ugly. Why? Because you interview the kid that was the bully or the aggressor, and they almost always say, you think I started it? Oh, I didn't start it. You know what they said to me? Or he looked at me funny. That's why I called him fill in the blank. So they never take responsibility. Sometimes they'll take some, but they always feel like the victim. They feel like they were the one that was hurt. They feel like they were just retaliating or just, getting revenge, but the other kid started it. So they'll point at your kid, the victim, and say, no, they were the aggressor. Well, then the investigation looks at your kid, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, why are you coming investigating my kid? They were the victim. Oh, not according to this other kid. I mean, you've seen criminal investigations, court cases on TV. Everybody gets interviewed, everybody gets investigated, everybody gets their moment to tell their side of the story. And I've seen a lot of kids that are targeted where there's a bunch of lies made up. They get dragged into court. The whole process takes forever. So, man, I tell you this is a different training. We're not going to go into this tonight, but my friends and I, my colleagues and I, we invented a conflict resolution system called squabbles. Why? Because what if we could solve it on the squabble level? What if we could, as my grandma would say, nip it in the bud? Nip it in the bud. You better get that, Jeff. You better talk to that kid. You better deal with it before it gets out of control. But she would say, what if we took care of the issue before it had a chance to become a repeated over time while a kid was miserable. See, the anti-bullying movement, I'm talking the last 20 years since Columbine, that was the dawn of the anti-bullying movement. We said, okay, if these kids, shot up a school, they killed themselves, we don't ever want a school shooting or a student suicide to happen again in America. Well, what was at the root of this? Why did they do that? They said these kids were picked on so much that they wanted to hurt other people in retaliation. The issue is bullying. We got to stop bullies, and we had posters and programs. Bullies aren't cool. Kick them out of school. We got to punish this kid. Well, guess what? 90% of those that bully feel like victims. They feel like they're the one down here. Well, what happens when you punish someone who already feels like a victim, who always feels like people are hurting them and doing stuff to them? Well, research shows if you give this kid consequences, they push back. In fact, the research shows that if you give someone consequences for bullying behavior, they're far more likely to harm themselves or harm their target in retaliation. You say, whoa, Jeff. So are you saying that if my kid reports it and their enemy gets in trouble for being mean, that it is more likely that they're going to hurt my kid? That's what research says. You say, well, how do I solve it? I'm so excited to show you. I'm so excited to show you. Why? Because it's what I wish I had as a kid. You see, the anti-bullying movement has always tried to deal with the aggressor and deal with them to try to solve the problem. But that kid doesn't want to cooperate. They're the one that's difficult. They're the ones that's ornery. They're the ones that is emotionally all over the place. This kid says, man, I will try anything. I will try anything. If bullying is an imbalance of power, stay with me. If bullying is an imbalance of power, what might happen if we simply empowered the target, the victim? Our conflict is solved. There's no conflict. There's no power imbalance here. And in the meantime, we've been able to help this kid grow stronger. They now develop skills, so the next time they have someone who's being mean, they know how to deal with them. And also, this kid is less likely to retaliate and fight back. You say, well, Jeff, isn't that like victim blaming, right? Because you're putting the responsibility on this kid to solve it. I didn't blame them for their problem. I simply empowered them to solve it. Why? Because if we can teach students to solve social problems on their own, if we can teach them how to deal with a punk, man, whether they're in 2nd grade, 7th grade, 11th grade, or, they're 52 and they've got a punk neighbor, or they've got a spouse that's all of a sudden being abusive, they say, whoa, I know how to de-escalate this. I know how to handle this. I know how to get myself safe. These skills are transferable. Just like the 7th grader, he said, if it works with my brother, it's going to work with somebody else. And he understood after 45 minutes with me and in the assembly, he understood, hey, these are skills for life. So what does this look like? Kids don't care what bullying is, so I don't spend a whole lot of time defining it for them. I teach them that if someone's trying to hurt your body, take or break your stuff, that's a crime. Crimes deserve to be punished. Tell an adult. Get away, get safe, report it. That person deserves to get in trouble. You need help if a crime is being committed. But if someone's trying to hurt your feelings, let me show you. Let me teach you how to be in control of your feelings and boost your happiness, even when you've got someone who's being mean in your life. Kids ask me, they don't ask me, hey, Mr. Jeff, how do you define bullying? A student has never asked me that. They always say, why are people mean? Or why are people jerks? And there's only 3 reasons in the world why someone's mean. Number 1, maybe it's humor. They're trying to be a comedian. They're trying to be a class clown. You're the butt of their joke. Number 2, maybe they're trying to dominate or try to have power over you. So they're going to try to bother you. They're going to do anything they can to try to make you upset and annoy you. And if you get upset, you lose, they win. Number 3, maybe it's that they feel victimized by you. Maybe your child said something. Maybe they did something. And this kid wants revenge. They're going to retaliate. Hurting people hurt people. A lot of times parents are worried about the dominator, the one that's bothering their kids, the bully. But I'll tell you, if there's someone you need to worry about, if there's a character you need to be concerned about, it's someone who feels victimized by your kid. Think about every school shooting you've seen on the news. Think of every disgruntled employee that's gone and made a scene in their workplace. It always comes from a place of hurt, a place of entitlement. They feel like someone else has wronged them and they're looking to get even. So if your kid has a victim on their hands, someone that's blaming them for something, it's very important that they solve it as quickly as possible. Now, notice this aggression trifecta is a Venn diagram. There can be more than one thing at play. But I can tell you this, there's only one reason why kids get picked on repeatedly, only one, and it's because they get upset. They get upset, and that's how their enemy knows, ha 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 ha, I'm winning. The more upset you get, the more fun they have, the more fun they have, the meaner they are, the more upset you get. That's what we call the cycle of aggression. So how do we stop all this? Well, first of all, I think that step one is let's get rid of this word bullying. It's abstract. In fact, if you talk to a sociologist, they will say the word is abstract and unhelpful. They refuse to use the word bullying in their research and in their work. Instead, they call it dominance behavior. They say it's someone trying to dominate you. They want to have power over you. You get upset, you lose, you stay calm, you can win. And they teach you how to deal with social situations and become emotionally stronger and socially more savvy than your adversity. That's the definition of resilience, by the way. The definition of resilience is leveraging adversity or adversaries for psychological growth. Whoa, that was deep. I'm going to say that again. Write this one down. Tweet it to your neighbor. Hashtag Ginger Ninja. This is my ninja skill. Get ready. The definition of resilience is leveraging adversity or adversaries for psychological growth. You're like, dude, okay, wow, that's deep. Yeah, it is. What does that mean? It simply means that Kelly Clarkson was right. What doesn't kill you can make you stronger. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. They may exclude me, but I can be good. I can be good in the hood. I don't need anybody to let me in their treehouse, invite me to their birthday party. I don't need Sam to invite me into his club, even though he has amazing samples. Man, I ain't got the card. I don't even have Costco. What does that mean? We can deal with adversity, but we can be okay. We simply realize they're trying to dominate, and we don't let them win. So let's go back to that. Bullying is a game. It's dominance behavior. How do you win the game? Well, we talked about what's not working, and I just want to do a little poll. So parents, I want you to follow along with me. I want you to leave a little message in the comments. What did your parents tell you when someone was mean to you? Did they tell you one of these things? If so, I want you to type it out. Type ignore it, walk away, tell an adult, or you can say, hey, all three, 2 out of 3. Type in the comments on Facebook. I'm curious. I'm pulling up my phone right now to hear what people told you, what they said. What did they say? And I'll tell you, it's important to know this. It's important to address this, and here's why. I believe that kids, they don't hear ignore it, walk away, tell an adult. I think when we say those things, they actually hear this. This is how they internalize it, I believe. Tanya says ignore it. Mark says ignore it. Absolutely. You see, kids feel hopeless, helpless, and entitled. If that's what they're hearing, if that's what they're telling themselves in their head, what are the consequences of that? Well, I'll tell you, logic, first of all, says you can't solve a problem you ignore. So telling our kids to ignore it, I don't know if you dealt with this as a kid, but you're like, I ignore it. Like, Mom, that's not making it better. They don't walk away because it makes them look weak. And they realize that their enemy's going to like them less if they get them in trouble. So kids usually would rather not tell an adult. In fact, if your kid's getting picked on online, you probably don't know about it. 75% of teens are cyberbullied. Only 1 in 10, only 10% come home and tell their parents. Well, what mindset should we have? How do we help our kids? Well, there's 2 mindsets when it comes to bullying. Number 1, you can take the legal mindset, which is get upset when people call you names. Words hurt. You can't stop it on your own. You need my help, so tell me, I'll punish your bully for you. Well, what are the consequences? It destroys our kids' confidence, promotes helplessness, teaches social isolation. You say, well, is there an alternative approach? That doesn't sound very awesome, Jeff. Yes. You can be like an awesome coach, an awesome mom and dad, awesome teacher, awesome principal, awesome school counselor that looks at your kid and says, listen, it's a trap. Don't get upset when people call you names. Why? Words don't have to hurt you. Words only have the power that you give them. You can stop bullying on your own. I believe in you. And teach me exactly what's happening. Tell me exactly what's happening. I'm going to teach you how to be resilient. That builds confidence. It promotes healthiness. Our kids are learning how to solve it. And it teaches them social skills. They can apply that to any area of life. You say, okay, Jeff, I'm on board with that approach. I want my kid to be resilient. I want them to be unfazed by insults, and when they're excluded, realize that it's okay just to have a few friends. It's okay to not be invited to every party. How do I do that? Well, what's working? Social and emotional learning, teaching kids how to feel and how to deal. In my work with Glendive Public Schools, let me tell you, I am working with every school to help them create social and emotional learning programs. Stephen and I meet every time we are there. We meet with the principals and school counselors, and they're implementing different social and emotional learning programs in the schools. Why? Because research shows that teaching kids how to feel and how to deal, social and emotional drama is the number one threat to academics. Now, if you're not in a school environment, you may not know that, you may not believe that. I'll tell you this, if you try to get your kid to clean their room at home, but they've just had a fight with you or a fight with their brother or sister, what are they focused on? Probably not cleaning their room. They're emotionally caught up in that social issue that just went bad. They can't make progress on the room. They can't even think of how to put their toys in the basket or how to, hang stuff back, where it needs to go. Why? Because they're so preoccupied with the emotions of it. If we could teach our kids how to feel and how to deal, they're better off in life. Cognitive behavioral therapy, teaching our kids that thoughts, feelings, and actions are connected. A lot of times kids don't change their behavior because they don't feel like it, right? We have to teach them, hey, feelings come to last. If you can change your thinking or change even how you act, your feelings will follow. You can boost your happiness. Finally, resilience education. Just like that 7th grader I brought up. He learned a new way to deal with something, and as a result, checking back in with him, not only was he able to get his brother to stop being mean, but the kid at his school, he was able to get him off his back. And I tell you, his confidence, his self-esteem, self-worth went through the roof when he was able to solve it on his own. He felt like a loser when he had to go tell his teacher every time. Why? Because someone else got to be the hero. I don't know if you realize that. I am all for kids telling adults about social problems so that we can watch out for it, keep them safe, stand up for them if someone's being mean. I'm all for that. But if you as a parent solve your kid's problem for them every time, you're the hero. Your kid doesn't get a chance to be the hero. But it actually robs them of the opportunity to solve their own social problem. It robs them the opportunity of feeling the satisfaction of saying, they were a jerk, and Mom, I stopped them. Dad, you wouldn't believe it. He was roasting me, man, in front of the whole lunchroom, and I said this little clever comeback that we practiced at home. You should have seen the look on his face. He didn't have a clue what to say. That group of mean girls, they were spreading that rumor, and they found out I didn't care. And when I told her, hey, you could say whatever you want, it's a free country, you should have seen the look on her face. It was awesome. Dad, it was so cool. Your kid gets to be the hero. And they will tell you how awesome it was when their enemy could no longer have power over them, but they won. So many times for kids, it's the first time they feel like a winner. So I teach kids, don't get upset. How do you teach this? Well, there's this really smart teacher. She's an elementary teacher. On the first day of school, she wanted to teach this lesson of, the power of words, like we all do, teaching our kids to be kind. So she brought 2 apples, hid one under her desk, had all the elementary students gather around. She said, boys and girls, we're going to learn about the power of our words. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to talk to Mr. Apple, and I want you to encourage him. Say as many nice things as you can. So, of course, the little elementary kid, oh, your skin is so red. Oh, you're so smooth. You look so juicy. I'd love to eat you. You look so tasty. Teacher says, okay, good job, good job. And she switches the apples. She had secretly prepared this one. None of the kids knew it. She said, okay, this next apple, I want you to be as mean as you possibly can. The kids are like, we got to be mean to the apple. She said, yes, I want you to be mean to the apple. Don't say any nice things. Only mean things. Only insults. Only dirty looks. Be as mean as you can. So the kids start saying mean things. Well, you probably got worms. You're so ugly. Your skin is so wrinkly. No one wants to eat you. She said, okay, good job. Now we're going to look at the inside of the apple and see what they look like. She grabs a knife and opens the first apple. She said, "This is the apple you were nice to." The kids say, "Can we have a snack? Can we have a snack?" She said, "No, we can't eat it yet. We've got to compare it to the other apple, the one you were mean to. Let's see what it looks like." She cuts it open, and of course it's bruised on the inside. I'm sure this freaks some of the elementary kids out. Like, "Did we really do that to that apple? Really?" She said, "Really." And here was her lesson. She said, "Boys and girls, I want you to remember the power of your words. Sometimes our words can hurt people in places we can't see. So always be kind." Isn't that a powerful lesson? Think about that. If you got younger kids at home, you could do this with them. Understand that sometimes their mean words can hurt their brother and sister, can hurt their neighbor. Maybe that's why their friend doesn't want to play with them anymore. It's such a powerful lesson. But there's two truths about words. And my issue with this lesson is I think the teacher only taught half of the truth. And if your kid goes through life only believing this half-truth, they're really believing a lie. See, it's true. Words can hurt. Words can wound. Words can kill. That's why we should be very careful with our words. But the other half of the truth is that sticks and stones will break your bones, but words don't have to hurt you. What doesn't kill you can make you stronger. Haters gonna hate, skaters gonna skate, potatoes are gonna potate. I don't know the whole thing. But the point of Taylor Swift's song is some people are going to be mean, and you have the power. You can choose to shake it off, shake it off. Christina would say, "Oh, I am beautiful, no matter what you say. Words won't bring me down. So don't you bring me down today." See, if we can teach our kids, things for hearing me, if we can teach our kids not to get upset, they realize they have a choice. They realize their enemy doesn't have to ruin their day. Well, how do we teach that lesson? Well, if I was to do this in my classroom, I would have done the apple lesson, but I said, "Boys and girls, I'm going to try this one more time. Let me introduce you to Billy the coconut." Kids are like, "We get to be mean to him?" I want you to be as mean as you possibly can. Listen, we're about to run out of time. Take Billy out for recess. Tell you something. He's afraid of heights. Take him to the highest slide, push him off. Swing him on the swings as high as you can. If he falls off, no big deal. In fact, I want you to take him to the soccer field. Guys, you love playing soccer. Kick him around a little bit. Kick him as hard as you can, but don't let him fall down the sewer drain. After recess, we got to crack him open. So you imagine this. All these elementary kids, they come back for recess, right, and they're like, "We're exhausted. We were so mean." Teacher's like, "You were mean." "We was mean." "Okay. We're going to crack him open. How do you think he's going to look? Make a guess." "He's going to look so ugly. We beat him up good." "All right, let's find out." Of course, the teacher cracks open the coconut. What do the kids see? "Huh? Why does he look so good?" Teacher says, "What's the difference between an apple and a coconut?" She waits for a kid to raise her hand. "I know. One has thick skin and the other has thin skin. The one with the thick skin didn't get hurt." That's right, boys and girls. There's a difference between an apple and a coconut. Here's what I want you to remember in this school year. Here's what I want you to remember, son and daughter, in this house. Your words can hurt people in places you can't see. So I want you to treat everyone like they're an apple, because we wouldn't want anyone to get bruised and hurt on the inside. That's true. Words can hurt. But there's another truth that you have to learn. That's that words don't have to hurt you. Words only have the power that the listener gives them. So if someone is mean to you, you make the choice. Don't act like an apple. You act like a coconut. You say, "I'm going to be strong on the inside. Your words don't have to hurt me. I'm going to let it bounce off of me. I'm going to pretend that your words are like a paper wad. I'm going to let it hit me but bounce right off of me. And I'm going to throw that away because those words are trash." Isn't that a more complete lesson? Think about it. Isn't that what you want your kids to really understand? Yeah, words can hurt. Be careful. But you don't have to let somebody else's words or their opinion of you, their judgment of you, the fact that they were mean today, you don't have to let that ruin your day, ruin your month, or ruin your life. You don't have to let their opinion of you become your truth and be the reason why you want to give up. Instead, you can be like the coconut. You can shake it off. You can be strong on the inside. I love this. That's how we teach our kids don't get upset. How do we teach them to treat their enemy like a friend? And why would you want to do that in the first place? Well, if they treat their enemy like an enemy, they will stay their enemy forever. I promise you. Martin Luther King Jr., one of my great heroes, you likely respect him as well, said, hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Love is the only force capable of turning an enemy into a friend. He also said that if you use hate to stop hate and violence to stop violence, it doesn't get you anywhere. It's an all-descending spiral leading to destruction. Treating your enemy like a friend, that sounds like the golden rule, which we all learned as kids. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Well, how you want to be treated, like an enemy or a friend? Probably like a friend. I remix the golden rule for kids this way. Treat everyone like friends, especially your enemy. You don't have to be friends with them. My grandma, if she was here, she would say, bad company corrupts good morals. Don't tell the kids to be friends with kids that are making bad choices. That's not what I'm saying. They don't have to be friends with them, but they should be friendly to them. Why? Because being friendly to an enemy is the only chance you have of getting them to respect you. If you're mean back, they're not going to respect you. Why would they? You say, well, yeah, but when I was a kid and someone punched me, I punched them harder and they learned to respect me. Well, they might learn to fear you. But it's a little different today. If a kid feels threatened by you in person, they will go home and they will try to make as many hateful comments about you go viral. They might respect you in person, but are they going to respect you online? Probably not. And they will find more clever, more creative ways to make your life miserable. Now they feel victimized by you, and they want to dominate and make you miserable because they feel hurt by you. It often doesn't solve it. The behavior just changes forms. That's how I remix it for students. How do I remix it for parents? Get ready. Here's your remix. This is my DJ skills. I love to say, parent the way you would want to be parented. How do you want to be parented? I can't answer that question for you. But I can go back to our little poll we did earlier. If your parents told you to ignore it, walk away, tell them, I want to ask you, did you feel empowered when they said that? And go ahead and answer this on Facebook. I'm going to hop back here because I want to talk with you, not at you. I know it's a little hard being remote. You can't just throw your hands up. But did you feel empowered when you heard ignore it, walk away, tell an adult? Yes or no? If your answer is no, I want to encourage you to do something else. I want to encourage you to equip your son, your daughter, with these social and emotional skills that makes it possible to face adversity, grow in resilience, and solve their own social problem. I want your kids to be strong. So let me show you how to raise them strong and build resilient kids. How do we teach them this stuff so they'll actually use it? We use something called the peace sign. That every student in Glendive Public Schools should be able to recite this verbatim because they are reviewing it on a regular basis with their teachers, and they review it with me quite often. Anytime I'm in town, this is the first thing we review. So what are the 2 simple steps that can help any kid stop mean behavior in 1 week? Again, 90% say that it completely stops or dramatically decreases. Step 1, we learned, don't get upset. They can't win if you choose to stay calm. So be resilient, pull a Taylor Swift, and shake it off. Remember, words only have the power that you give them. Patty said, no, I wasn't empowered. All right, Patty, well, I'm going to give you an alternate approach that's going to help you and your kids feel empowered. Step 2, treat them like a friend. Being kind will confuse your kid's enemy when they're being mean. Man, think about this. You go into a convenience store, right? You're going to get gas in the morning. You just had the worst day, right? Kids are screaming that you got them to school late. You're on your way to work. You're late. Traffic is terrible, even in Glendive, right? That's a really rough day in Glendive, right? If traffic's terrible. Maybe, at the Crazy Coffee Lady, the line was extra long. That's what happened last time I tried to leave Glendive. I tried to get a coffee on the way to on the Billings Airport, and the line was too long. Man, I couldn't. I was running late for my plane. I was like, I got to go without coffee. This is going to be a bad day for everybody around me. So let's say you're having a rough morning, but you have to stop and get gas. You go in, and the lady behind the counter is a saint. I mean, just a saint. You're grumbling at everybody. You're a little ornery to the kids, but you walk in, and it's like, isn't it such a beautiful day? Oh my gosh, I love your shirt. How are you today? It's so good to see you. As hard as you try to stay mad, you're like, did you just drop from heaven? Like, this is the nicest person on the face of the planet. Like, I can't be mean to you. And the same thing happens when your kid acts like a friend to their enemy. When they're kind, kindness causes confusion when someone's being mean. It's very hard, almost impossible, to continue being mean to someone who's nice to you. So how do we teach this to our kids in a way that they will remember? Well, I will tell you, we play a little game. And I want to share this little game with you. Now, Stefan, are you still there, Stefan?
Still here.
All right, I'm glad you didn't fall asleep, brother. Thank you. I'm going to open up a video here. This is, let me tell you where this video was filmed. This was filmed in Grand Rapids, Michigan, my home state and my hometown. I went there to speak at a school, and I had a camera crew that was following me, documenting my work. And this girl got called up on stage to play this game with me. This is how I teach students the peace sign, by the way. You're going to see exactly how I do it live in my assembly, and this is a game you can play with your kids at home. You say, well, can't I just, talk to them and explain the peace sign? No. Remember getting lectured by your parents as a kid? Uh-huh. Remember the advice they gave you? Uh-huh. Remember how excited you were to use that advice? Usually we kind of tuned our parents out, right? If you study brain activity of teenagers, they actually show when their parents talk, their brain activity goes down. They shut off their listening center when they hear their parents' voice. It's very interesting. There's scientific studies. You can Google this and find it's true. I'm not just making this up. But when we play a game, it activates a different part of the brain, and our problem solving kicks in. Not only does your kid hear how to solve it, but they feel it. So in this game, you're going to see this girl gets called up on stage to play this game with me, and she feels, first of all, I allow her to dominate me the first time we play this game. The second time, I leverage the golden rule. I don't get upset. I treat her like a friend. I use the peace sign, and she finds out she can't have power over me. Now, I had no idea that this day, while this camera crew was following me, this girl was supposed to insult me verbally. It's not exactly what happened. This did not go as planned, and that's why it's gotten so many views on YouTube. Enjoy. I'm going to turn this up. Stefan, let me know if you can't hear it, but I think we'll be okay. Here we go.
Me in front of everybody, a few of you. Right here. Come on up. Give her a round of applause. All right, here we go. Cool. How you doing, Jeff? Cool. Everybody say, what's up, Carl? All right, so here's
Can you
what
turn
we're
it
going
up
to do.
at all, Jeff?
We're going to play this game. It's called the Golden Rule Game.
Yeah, let me move over a little.
School psychologist Izzy Kelman. And what I'm going to have you do, Corey, is just be as mean and hateful to me as you can. You can make fun of my glasses, my red hair. I have allergies and ugly clothes, big ears. I'm giving you way too much material right now. But anything you want to say to be hateful, even if you want to just make stuff up too, that's totally cool. You're going to start out by calling me an idiot. I'm going to try to stop.
Oh.
I think you treat me. I'm going to use a lot of reciprocity. I'm going to reflect the same behavior.
Can't hear it very well anymore, Jeff.
So we'll see if I can stop
There you
you.
go.
So don't let me stop you. Do your best at winning. Start off by calling me an idiot. Everybody's going to say action on 3. 1, 2, 3. You're such an idiot. What did you call me? You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Look at you. You're a ginger with no soul. I have a soul. Bunch of punks. I have a soul. I have a big heart, in case you wondered. You hurt my feelings. You better knock it off. Your clothes are from Goodwill. Don't you touch me, you little punk. I am going to hit a girl. There's not even a girl as ugly as you. Yeah, I'm going to touch you for what? What are you going to do about it? Well, don't say you touch me again. I'm going to report you. You better not touch me. Touch me again, I'm going to windmill kick your face. You better shut up. You better not call me an idiot again. An idiot. Okay, give her a round of applause. I couldn't stop her. All right, cool. Nuts. Homegirl got some skills, if you know what I mean. Okay, so we're gonna play again. I couldn't beat you. I couldn't make you stop being mean to me. This time I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna pull out the peace sign. I'm going to not get upset, but I'm gonna treat you like a friend. Let's see if I can find peace in our relationship. All right. Same thing. Start by calling me an idiot. Anything. I mean, you got that down. So action on 3. 1, 2, 3. You're such an idiot. You think I'm an idiot? Yeah. Okay, I mean, that's cool. I mean, it's okay if you don't like me. It doesn't hurt my feelings, so. I wish I was more like beautiful. You have, you know, you got some, I think I could get some fashion tips from you. Alright, so you pull the peace sign out, and it's kind of hard to fight back. So obviously, so what time was easier to kind of bully me? The first time or the second time?
The first time.
Why was it harder the first time?
Because you weren't nice and, like, weren't saying anything back to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. When someone fights back to you, anger is ammunition. In other words, you give someone a reason to fire back on you. It's easy for them to try to one-up you and try to continue to dominate up the scale. What happened the second time?
You were nice and, like, I didn't really know what to say back.
Yeah. When someone's nice to you, when someone's continually being nice to you, they're consistent, it's almost impossible to continue being mean to them. I like to say kindness causes confusion, right? I don't like the whole kill them with kindness, because that's like putting too much sugar in someone's coffee. They have like a, attack, and then they need to die and have a seizure. And that's kind of inappropriate. But kindness causes confusion. In other words, you can throw a person off their game if they're being mean to you by simply being kind to them, treating them like a friend. So I use the golden rule. The golden rule says treat others the way you want to be treated. But the question is, how do you want to be treated, right? In life, do you want to be treated like an enemy or a friend?
A friend.
A friend, cool. And which time do you think you'd be more likely to respect me, or maybe even just move on to someone else and pick on them instead?
The second time.
The second time, cool. Do you think we actually could have been friends after a while if I continued to treat you that way?
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. Another round of applause for Cora. Awesome job. Thank you. All right. So that is, I'm going to reconnect my AirPods here so y'all can hear me a little easier, I hope. But that was a little example of how I teach this. And so I want to encourage you guys to play this game at home with your kids. And to give you guys some free resources that you can use right away. But before that, I want to talk about what does a conversation look like? How do you help your kid? If your kid comes home tomorrow and says, hey, someone was mean at school, or hey, I went to sports practice, or I went to hang out with the kids down the street and someone was really mean to me, how do you help them deal with that? How do you empower them? What does that conversation look like for you as a parent? So let's jump back in here. This is the peace sign approach for adults. You notice for grown-ups it has 4 steps. Why? Because we owe, but we can handle it. Step 1, your kid is upset. First thing you need to do is empathize, right? Weep with those who weep. Be sad, be bummed that they had a rough day. Say, I'm so sorry that happened to you. And that's terrible. And if you've got a little one or a kid that's shorter than you, they already feel dominated. So if you can get on eye level, or what I call heart level, where you're not towering over them as you have this conversation, they feel like you're in it with them, and you're going to help them sort of get unstuck in the mud. First, we empathize. Next, we encourage. Your kid has just been torn down, so you're going to build them up. And, you're a great friend. I'm sad kids aren't being nice to you. They're not treating you that way. You're such a smart kid. Man, you're so strong. I know you can get through this. I bet you can stop those kids. We can figure out a way to do it together. I'm not going to leave you until we figure this out. I'm going to be by your side the whole time. Let them know. You're not abandoning them. You're going to help them figure out how to solve this problem. And you believe that they can do it. Next, what do? You're going to educate them. You're going to ask them. You're going to say, hey, when these kids are spreading this rumor, and when these kids are calling you this name they know makes you mad, do you feel like a winner or a loser? A loser, your child will say. They say, yeah, and when you get upset, how do you think they feel? Like a winner or a loser? A winner. Now, why do I ask this question? When kids are upset, when something's happened, it seems very abstract. They realize that they're losing, but they don't realize why they're losing and why the other person is winning. So notice the part where I said, did you get upset? Or you can ask your child, you can say, well, what did you do? When they called you that name, or when they started spreading that rumor, what did you do? And your child will give you an answer that will align with fight, right? They fought back. Flight, they ran away. Or freeze. They don't even know what to say back. They just felt stuck. They just stood there. Right? Fight, flight, or freeze. Really only 3 responses. But in one of those, they're demonstrating that they were upset by what was said or what was done. So you're going to help them realize when you get upset, you lose. You feel like a loser, the other person feels like a winner. After you've educated them, you're going to empower them. You're going to teach them the peace sign. Say, hey, I want you to try something.
I want you to we're going to try something. We're going to play this game, which is what you just saw, and I want you to try I want you to try being mean to me. I'm going to try to stop you. If I can stop you, I win. If I can't stop you, you win. Action. You get upset, just like you saw in the game. The second time, you're going to say, all right, I'm going to try some. I'll teach you this in a second, but I'll just give you a little heads up. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this thing called the peace sign. I'm not going to get upset. I'm going to treat you like a friend. Watch this. Like magic, I'm going to be able to find peace. Be mean to me again. Action. And what your child will find, not only will they hear it, but they will feel it, is that it is impossible for them to have power over you when you're nice to them, when you're calm, when you don't get upset. And through that, they will be empowered. Why? Because you're going to play this game a third time. You're going to say, okay, bonus round, we're going to switch roles. This time I get to be mean to you. Mom, can I get upset? Yeah. We can laugh a little bit. You get upset. See if you can stop me by getting upset. They won't be able to. Say, all right, remember those 2 steps? What was it again? Don't get upset. Treat me like a friend. Got it. Action. They're going to find quickly that they can, even if you're really mean, your kid can shut you down in a matter of seconds by being mean. You say, well, what if it gets physical? Well, you saw in that video, even with that girl, I was able to get her to chill out using these 2 steps. The magic question, if someone tried to push you or shove you, they push you, you say, oh, are you mad at me? And it triggers a different part of the brain. This is a whole other lesson how the brain works. Triggers a different part of the brain. The person will realize they have to answer the question. Say, yeah, I'm mad at you. Say, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Oh, why are you mad at me? And it takes it from a physical altercation to a verbal discussion. So empathize, encourage, educate, and empower. That's how you can help your kids find peace and how you can raise them strong. Hey, I hope tonight helped you build resilient kids. I want to give you all some resources and let you know about some more stuff on my website that can really help you out. So check this out. Raise Them Strong is actually a parenting course I did with my 2 best buddies in the world, child sociologist Brooks Gibbs, and Teacher of the Year. He won the award, my buddy Chris Schufel. If you're watching this right now, I want to give you access to this. Normally it's $99 for parents to go through this with your kids, but I've got a link here on my website for 50% off. So go to the link I'll give you in a second here, jeffveley.com. You'll be able to find that and get access to that. Also, I want to let you know, if you have a kid that you say, hey, Jeff, my kid could really benefit, maybe your kid's been going to therapy, maybe it's been working, maybe it's not been working, or you say, hey, my kid needs someone to talk to, or they have a friend who just needs to sit down and do this and role play with someone and talk through this issue. I offer something that no other mental health professional that I've heard of offers. And that is that I can stop your kid's problem. I can stop the bullying in 1 week, guaranteed. And I put my money where my mouth is. You have a couple sessions with me. If I can't solve it in 1 week, it's free. You don't owe me anything. I give you a ton of resources for your family. You keep everything. And, man, we wish each other well. I've never had any family ask for a refund because we've been able to solve it in 1 week. Again, it's an award-winning approach. We're able to get results really quick for kids, and instead of kids going to therapy for months or for years, they are able to solve the problem themselves quickly. They're empowered, they become resilient, and also they get to be the hero because they solved it. And so if that can help you or your family, shoot me a message. Again, jeffveley.com is the website down here where you can do that. I want to give you access to a free resilience test. And I'm not sure if this link is live yet here. If not, you can go to jeffveley.com, opt in, you can get this. But go to jeffveley.com. I don't know if the jeffveley.com/parents, I tested it here while the video was playing, and the page didn't want to work right away. So I'll fix that as soon as we finish our time together so that it gets you to the right spot. But in the next hour, that'll be up and working just fine. But anyways, if you want to get free resources, this is a resilience test you can download for your kids. I've got a bunch of other goodies, including over 2 years of archived radio features. I did nationally in blog posts I've written. There's a free training video where you can learn more about this, and a preview student presentation. If you want to learn what I've presented in GlenDoc, see the rest of what it looks like with the kids, you saw a little snippet of my assembly. You can go to this website. You can find out more about this. So go to jeffveley.com. You can find these resources, and that's jeffveley.com/parents. We'll be working here momentarily. Give me a chance to get that up and working, and we'll be good to go. Awesome. I'm Jeff Veley. I want to answer some questions, and I don't know if there's any other that have come in.
Mr. Sharbrice, if you've seen any that have come in while I've been talking here.
I have not.
See if
And
you
the
have-
hard part is with Facebook Lives, it's behind, so that's
Yeah,
always
it's a little bit delayed, I see.
Yeah, so it makes it difficult.
So cool.
but-
All right, well, if y'all have any questions, make sure that you drop them in the comments here, and we'll do our best to come back and I'll answer some of those. You can also contact me directly if you'd rather not post your comment publicly. Just go to jeffveley.com, click on contact, and you can send an email. I get a lot of emails, so it might take me a day to get back to you or something, but know that I will get back to you. I will answer your questions, and there's a ton of other resources at jeffveley.com, so check them out. There's a lot of free stuff that you can just download or watch or access with your kids, and more fun videos that'll help build their resilience. So thank you all for joining. Any questions or other thoughts here that we want to go through before we conclude our time?
Well, Jeff, the only thing that while people are deciding if they're going to comment or whatever, I just want to thank you for the time that you're spending speaking to our community and our parents, and the time that you've come and spoke to our students and staff.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate what you do. A lot of people in our community don't know this about me, but I've been using an approach very similar to this for about 7+ years with students, and I'm very passionate about it. You know, your guarantee about solving it in a week, I've seen that firsthand in the kids that I've trained, and this is something that parents can do with their kids. But just like you said in your earlier in your presentation, it's not something that you just talk to people about and then they just go and do it. That's just not how learning happens. You know, yes, everyone gets information, everyone can see examples, and we can show them videos, and we can do all this stuff. But the true value in learning is when you can actually do it on your own with feedback, and that's when you're talking about role playing and actually making it a game. It's amazing how someone will be able to do that, because really what it is coaching. You're coaching your kid to be able to deal with this, and so they can come and tell you that what happened, and you role play it and coach them, and then you ask them questions. I mean, you transition from a role of a parent to a coach. And the hard part as a parent is we want to protect our kids, and we want to be able to take care of all their problems and not have them hurt. But just like you said earlier, but if we do that, then we don't actually get our kids to learn that. And unfortunately, this is an issue that is going to be around their whole life. It isn't just a elementary, middle school, high school problem. Every single adult.
It's a human nature problem.
It's a human nature problem, exactly. And so it's how do we teach them these? I mean, one of the things I'm most passionate about that people will, I'll be using this quite a bit, and I think I heard you say this first, Jeff, about this statistic that says when they're looking at, when research shows about suicides that 20% is depression, 80% is lack of coping skills. When I heard that statistic right away, I got a lot of hope, because if 80% is lack of coping skills, that's something that we can actually teach our kids. Something I can teach my kids as a parent. Parents can teach us as a school district, can try to do. And the amazing part about this method is, yes, we're talking about bullying. Yes, we're talking about social aggression, but really it's skills that people are going to use their whole life. It's really, truly going to be something that's going to really drive them forward to be successful with whatever that they do. And so I'm very passionate with this, and I love, to be honest with you, how simple your process is. And I know the value because I've coached kids for 7+ years. And one quick story, I'm just going to say the story. I know we're way past the hour that we were doing, but my very first day as an assistant principal, I was down in Nevada, and I got a phone call at the end of the day from a parent who was really upset, and they basically said that they were going to turn our school into the Reno News because their kid kept getting bullied. And it was my first day. I didn't know who this kid was. I didn't know anything. And talk about the day went well until then, and I just listened, and I tried to hear what she was saying and get a shared perspective. And at the very end, I said, ma'am, I don't even know who your kid is. I'm sorry that this is happening. Would you allow me, before you do that, just to work with your kid and to be able to help them, solve this issue? And I go, just give me a week, give me 2 weeks, and then if you don't feel like it's working, I'm not by any means telling you not to go call them. You can call them right now if you want to, but I'd love to work with your kid. And so I did, and I had no idea what I was going to do, and I called an assistant principal buddy of mine, and he came down and he actually modeled this method for me.
Wow.
The program was called Bullies to Buddies, which is from Izzy Kalman, who is kind of the line that you've kind of been a part of. And I started working with this kid, and it was amazing where he went from. He went from hardly even wanting to talk with people, no friends. He was constantly being called names, to all of a sudden he was getting friends. He was happy. I can tell you this: were all people nice to him after this? And the answer is no. I'm sure people were still mean because it's a human nature problem, but he knew how to deal with it. And people didn't use him anymore as the person who was an easy target. And so it really gave him the skills, and it just was really cool to see that transition. And that's when I bought in hook, line, and sinker on this, because it was amazing to see where that kid went and how depressed that kid was, and all of a sudden the confidence that he had. And he walked down the hallway proud after that. And like your story about the little kid, he actually wanted people to be mean to him so he could practice the stuff that we were practicing. So
it's a game now.
It's because it was a game.
He knows how to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so Patty, I guess, asked,
I just saw her comment.
Yeah.
I do. I have a podcast. Let me upload up on my screen, all right? So it's called the Campus Peace Podcast. And, oops, that's my face. You're already looking at that. Let's go over here, campuspeacepodcast.com. It's where you can find that. We're on iTunes and Spotify and all sorts of good stuff. So Apple, Google, Pocket Casts. So if you go over here, you can check this out. So it's a podcast that sort of documents my journey with schools, working with schools, and then also follows, I interview different educators and mental health professionals, folks that are influencing school culture. And so it has some great ideas for how we can make our schools safer and how we can help our kids grow into the peacemakers that we want them to be.
Awesome.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, this has been great. I've really enjoyed the night here, and thanks so much for making this possible and connecting all the technology on your end so we can reach families in Glendive. Again, if y'all have any questions, if anything pops up later, jeffveley.com. This is the website right here. This is how you can get a hold of me, and I would love to hear from you and see if there's any way I can help you and your family or encourage your kids.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Jeff, and like you said before, contact him if you have any questions. You're also totally able to give us a call as well. We would love to tell you what we're trying to do in our schools. We've been trying to build some stuff for a couple years. We've been slowly getting things out and getting things built, and we're going to continue down this road because it is very important. And it's very important.
I want to commend you and your leadership for that, and your staff as well, because I work with a lot of schools, and there's a lot of schools doing great things, and there's some that are a little bit behind the eight ball. But in working with me, you guys have said, hey, we want the sort of the latest research in the best ways to help kids, and that's what you're committed to building. And so I appreciate your passion and just the desire that you guys have to do that, and how you're building it is smart. If we can help our kids be stronger socially and emotionally, they're more likely to succeed. So great work, and I'm excited to be a partner with Glendive in that.
Absolutely, and we appreciate it, all that you do. And I want to say thank you for everyone who is watching this live and participating as well. I know sometimes it's hard to put comments out there, so we appreciate that. And for all of you who might not have been able to watch live but are going to watch this video, we really want to have resources for our parents, because I think it's really important. And so we're going to be trying to build out more resources for everyone, and hopefully you'll see a lot more of this from us. So Thank you, everyone, for joining us. All right, we will, until next time, Glenda, we'll talk to you soon.
See y'all later.
This is
Have a
Stefan
good night.
Schreibeis reminding you to be kind and love like crazy.